Hi everybody. I just wanted to do a quick response to your online discussion that you had in Module 1. I'd asked you to talk about what you're concerned about with technology use and what were some reasons to use it. And so I went through and read everybody's posts kind of all at once, and I jotted down a lot of notes about it. And you had concerns about effects on students, the quality of their learning, classroom management, teacher loss of control, for example, teacher prep. It's hard to stay on top of new changes in technology and to continue to professionally develop yourself to work with it, and all kinds of other things like the digital divide. Will my students be able to access computers outside of my class? Because not everybody can. In terms of reasons to use technology, you cited a number of things like expanded audiences for student work. Technology might make learning more engaging. It's one person said it's essential in the modern classroom, and there were a number of things. And I'm attaching this to the discussion board if you want to see, to the post that this video's in, if you want to see what all I typed up in there. But it's really these are your thoughts that you guys came up with together. I wanted to just kind of make a response to what you said. So all of your concerns were, of course, valid concerns. There was a wide gamut of things that were cited. And my first reaction when I saw all this, and I typed it up and I printed it and I read it, was like, oh gosh, I wish I could just solve all their problems and tell them how to fix all of this and address all of this. And I had a moment of feeling kind of sad because I knew I couldn't do that. Every situation that you go into is going to be different. So in that kind of, in a world where every situation is different, every classroom is different, but really every school is different, and I taught in 4 different schools, and they all had their own unique problems. And so what I should have done, which I didn't always do because I had my head sort of staring at the ground, just trying to focus on getting through what I was doing, because teaching's a hard job and it's exhausting. You kind of have to stay focused. And I had tunnel vision a lot of the time, and I was often isolated, and I now see that I should have been visiting with people more, networking more, and I'll get to that in a minute. But every situation is different, and if you pay attention to your situation, you are in a better position to solve the problems that you face, okay? So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about here, is kind of paying attention so that you can be a problem solver and you can have good judgment as a teacher. Technology is not a panacea. That is, it's not going to cure everything. People are always claiming that they've got the new cure for problems that face us in education, but nobody here is claiming that technology is a panacea. It's just a tool that you can use. And so really what this class is all about is what you've heard in other classes. It's about good planning. So good instructional planning. What are your goals and objectives that you want to achieve with your students? You have to figure out, after those are figured out, it's then good to say, is there a technology that can help support that? And you want to strike balance. If there's too many cons, and there's not enough pros, then don't do it. But if you can risk it, if you think there's a technology that might support what your students are doing, then you should try it. Think about how the implementation went once it's over, and if you can improve it, write it down for next year or for the next class period, improve it. If it doesn't work out, then don't get too worked up, but do try to reflect on what went wrong. Be honest about it, because sometimes we plan things poorly, and then in implementation we might blame one aspect of it, but really it might have been poor planning. It might not be the technology's fault. It could be that the implementation of a technology goes badly because of poor planning. But at the same time, it does add complication, and I fully acknowledge that. On Saturday here in the computer lab, we have a good computer lab. I mean, it's a pretty decent lab. We had technology problems, and it was just so frustrating, and I don't know. I wanted to get angry, but I didn't. We kept our cool and waited 10 extra minutes for the computers to boot up, and we lucked out and it all worked out. But it can be maddening, and it is risky, But at the same time, there are pros. There's good reasons to use it, I believe. And I hope that as you continue through the class, you continue to think about why it might work in your particular setting. It's going to be different for each of you, because we have such a variety of folks in here that are going to teach different things and different developmental levels of students. Item number 6 is all about developing strong networks, and like I said earlier, I was kind of an introverted, tunnel-visioned person, and this was not good for me to be a problem solver. When you're like that, you just don't try anything because it's too much. It's too much work. You can't go across the hall and ask somebody, how did you do this? Have you done this before? And chit chat. I didn't make enough time to do that. I was just all business. I'd get to school and I'd get to work and I would work through my lunch period. I frequently skipped lunch. I would starve myself all day. I would eat a quick breakfast. I would starve at lunch and then I would, eat at the end of the day at like 4 o'clock. And that was horrible. It's like, it's not right to be like that. And if I had just talked more with people and figured out what problems they had and what common problems that they had with me, I could have saved myself a lot of grief and time and just the act of commiserating with somebody about something. That is very powerful. So learn from others who have already fought the battles that you're facing. Okay, that's one of probably the key things that problem solvers do. Teaching can be an isolating profession, and don't let it happen to you. Make some buddies. Make buddies in your content area and outside of it, and in your school and outside of it. Okay? And then here's something that I never really practiced as a K-12 teacher because I'm a hypocrite. No, just kidding. Maybe I am, but I would highly recommend this. And if I go back to K-12 teaching, I'm still going to practice this, which is to stay informed. You want to be reading and learning about what's going on with education in the world. You pick a newspaper, for example. LA Times has a great education section. Atlanta Journal-Constitution does, and that might be a good one to do if you're in Georgia and you want to learn more about local things, but it also has a broad outlook as well. It's just really important to stay informed because you don't want to be a teacher who, a reform comes to your school, maybe the principal's pushing something, maybe it's a technological innovation, for example. You don't want to just be like, okay, without questioning. You always want to question. Ask, why are we doing this? How does this help my students in my situation? And you want to, and the more informed you are, the better you're able to reason and argue for or against whatever it is. And you'll just do a better job, and you'll feel more in control of what you're about and what you're doing. So with time, in the beginning, it's just completely overwhelming in the beginning of your career. But with time, you'll start to develop, good professional judgment, and your problem-solving skills will improve. And I'm sure a lot of you are really good problem solvers. I'm kind of talking about myself in a way here. But with time, your judgment and your problem solving will improve, especially if you have strong networks that you kind of work on and you stay informed, and no one can ever pull any wool over your eyes, and you don't want them to. But coming back to technology then, just remember it's not a panacea, and nobody's saying it is, and really it's about good planning. So what do your students or your clients need? Does this piece of technology, help that? Does it serve that purpose? If not, don't worry about it. Go the old-fashioned route. All right, so keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing how you guys do in discussion 2 when we read Prensky's essay that's very pro-technology. And most of you guys are digital natives, as he would call you. So I'll be curious to see what a lot of you digital natives and digital immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I was born before 1980. But I'll be interested to see what all of you have to say about Prensky. All right, thanks.